All right.
Will
You ready?
you stay? Come here, babe. Come on. One away.
Babe, I'm rolling.
Whatever.
What's going on, family? I'm Robert.
Wait, can you wait? Wait till I'm ready. Wait. Okay, no. No, sucking your teeth. What's up, family? I'm Robert Ballard.
What's going on, family? She is Jamila Ballard.
Where's your energy, babe?
Oh, my God. What's going on, family? I'm Robert.
And I'm Jamila.
And we are the Ballatts. Welcome to Morning Coffee.
Morning coffee. We got something to say.
She got
Something to say. What we gonna talk about, babe?
Today we're going to be talking about what does it take to really be married? A lot of people out there want to be married, but what does it really take to be married? See, the funny thing about being
You gonna
married.
tell the truth, babe?
What'd you say?
You gonna tell the truth?
Of course we're going to tell the truth.
Okay.
You know, it's funny because if you talk to somebody who's not married, their perspective on marriage is quite different than someone
Like
who's
before
been
we got married.
Like before we got married. So today we're going to be talking about what does it take to really be married? And if you're single and you're ready to get
have
married,
a successful marriage.
a successful
Because you
marriage.
could just go to court and just.
Okay, let me correct that. What does it take to have a successful marriage? So
Because there's a difference.
to all my singles watching, to all the newlyweds watching, you just got married, go ahead and get your cup of coffee, grab your boo, and let's get this popping today. Lord have mercy. Everybody always talking.
I got something to say. Hey! You got something to say. Hey! We all got something to say. Hey! So have your morning coffee with the Ballatts today. I got something to say. Hey! You got something to say. Hey! We all got something to say. Hey! So have your morning coffee with the Ballatts today. Morning coffee. I got something to say. You got something to say.
Morning coffee with the Ballatts today.
All right, so what does it really take to be married? I got some really funny stories. Well, we have a ton of funny stories because in some ways I'm like a comic relief because if I tell you some stories about when we first met and some of the stunts that I pulled, it's fun.
Stunts?
Well, not really stunts, but you know. Me walking out the house. So, okay. So in the beginning, this was actually before we got married. We were still dating.
But you tell on yourself.
I know, because I got to talk about myself so I don't offend people. I talk about myself this way, you know, nobody can be like, well, he talking about me, blah, blah, blah. I talk about myself. So one day, this was before we got married. We had an argument. This was in my little studio apartment. And so we were there. It was really early in the morning. I forgot what the argument was even about at this point. But I walked out of the house. So Jamila walked out after me. And so I was sitting in my car. I'm just sitting there. I got the music blasting, but you know, I'm waiting. So she comes to get in the car with me. Remember? Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, what you doing in my car? I'm going back and forth.
You didn't say what you doing in my car.
Okay, I don't remember what I said. So I got out the car and I slammed the door.
You didn't know what to do.
I got out of the car and I slammed the door. And so I walked down the driveway of the building where I was living at the time. And so I was pacing back and forth, probably about 15, 20 minutes. So every few minutes, I would peek my head in the driveway like this to see if she's still sitting in the car. And she was just sitting and listening to music, just shaking her head. I was an idiot.
I'm glad them days are over. Like, I can't even leave. I can't believe that was us.
Well, it was us.
That was
It's
one
part
of our
it's
proudest
part of the
moments.
process. I have a lot of stories like that.
And why, babe?
Why
Share
what?
a little bit about why.
Well, so I had
Why these things happen.
So I still have a lot of issues that I'm overcoming. So that's why I talk about them all the time. But I was afraid of commitment. That was number one.
Even though you wanted to commit.
Well, you know, I was still afraid of commitment.
Nobody-
You know what? A lot of times, especially as men, we make these promises.
Wait, let me just say this, honey,
Go
because
ahead,
sometimes women are kind of like, please, 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 please commit to me. Sometimes, I'm not saying all women, but that does happen at times because women usually are more comfortable with the idea of being in a committed relationship. Usually, you don't have to warm us up to that idea. And so I just wanted to say that it wasn't that type of. It wasn't that wasn't the case with us. It wasn't me trying to. You wanted it. You were gung ho. This is what I want. I want to marry you, and you still were big chicken at the same time.
Exactly. As a matter of fact, when I proposed to her, we had set an original date. It was like in April, and the closer we got to April, the more afraid I started to become, and so.
It's like bungee jumping, baby. You're like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. All your friends are talking about it, and you ready and you're excited, you're amped up. Then when it comes time to jump, you're like, wait, that was you, baby.
That was me. I was
That was you.
afraid.
Afraid of
And so the
commitment.
closer we got to the date, I started to chicken out. She's like, well, what's wrong with you? You're not talking about it no more. You're not doing this no more. What's going on? And so long story short, we wound up having a conversation. I said, okay, I'm going to go to counseling. So I called an associate that was a psychologist. I scheduled an appointment.
I suggested you go to
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she did. So, fellas, I went to counseling. Sometimes you got to go get professional help for your issues. I'm a talker, though. So it was a Saturday morning. I get to counseling. The
And I
doc,
actually was with you, remember?
yeah, she
I was in the car.
Yeah, she sat downstairs in the car, and so the psychologist was talking to me, and so I started running my mouth, blah, 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 and this is what happened to me, and this and that, and my ex told me this, and I'm like, I wanted to strangle her, and before the conversation was over, I think I only did, it was an hour-long session. I only did like 40 minutes, because 40 minutes into me running my mouth, I solved my own problem. I just realized I was afraid. I was afraid to commit because I didn't want to be taken advantage of again. I'm older now. When this happened the first time, I was in my 20s. Now I'm older, so now all these fears are coming. Well, what if she does this, and what if she does that? And so I literally just got afraid. 40 minutes into the conversation, I literally said,
You got afraid based on your past experiences.
based upon my past,
Not anything.
Eh,
I know you said that. Just wanted to reiterate.
No, good.
Not based on
anything that was going on
nothing
between us,
shady
no.
and crazy was going
No,
on. There was no lying. Nothing anywhere near unfaithful.
Oh, absolutely. No. It was, everything was just based upon my past. And so one of the first keys that I think we need to talk about when we're talking about preparing for marriage, because everybody thinks, the old saying, you better get your bills in order, you better be able to cook and clean and blah, 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 because God gonna send you a husband and God gonna send you a wife. All that stuff doesn't matter. Those are small compared to some of the issues that we don't.
That stuff is easy.
That stuff is easy, right? Compared to some of the stuff that.
Especially if you're 40.
Especially if you're 40.
Like
You
us,
better
like
know how
we
to
were
do-
over 40
Oh,
when we got
absolutely.
married.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
if you don't know how to cook and clean by then,
By that point.
you're just in trouble.
Yeah. I really had to begin to deal with my internal issues. And so one of them was just fear. I'm not talking about fear like, oh God, I'm afraid. No, I'm talking about like straight, I'm paranoid. Like it was straight. So I had to go get help for it. And so I think one of the first things is, dude, like all of us, you got to deal with the issues of your past. Because when you get married, they're going to creep back up. They're going to creep back up.
Habits, bad habits.
Bad habits.
A lot of
another
them are
one.
just bad habits. Because it's already, obviously, it's two lives becoming one. So when it's two lives becoming one, that alone is, it's difficult. That presents its own challenges. But two lives, we're each already over 40. So now we have developed we have some habits. We got
Strong habits.
some real habits, and some of the habits are very bad because we developed those habits while we were in unhealthy relationships.
Correct.
And we were in unhealthy relationships for
A long
10,
time.
15, 20 years.
10 years plus, right.
Yeah, 20 years
Right.
for each of us.
Correct.
About.
Correct. Correct. Bad habits.
So, yeah, we had some bad habits.
Yeah, and so a lot of it is just really, really.
And fears.
So to the singles listening that desire to get married, and to the newlyweds watching, honestly, you you have to deal with those bad habits.
Your own.
Your own bad habits. You can't point out the habits in your spouse because they're gonna be there. You know, one of the things that I learned all the time we've been together is I can't change a damn thing you do. I can't change who you are, but what I do have control over is myself. I have control of myself, and it took me some time to understand that. You know, when I begin to address all of my bad habits, because I was single for a while. I was married for a long time, but then I was single for a while, and I love being single in the sense of I'm very meticulous.
You do things your way.
I do things my way 100%.
That's what you mean. Like
Exactly.
when you say you were single, you were doing things
Right.
Nobody was held.
Nobody could tell me what to do. And so that's one of the greatest dangers to wanting to get married or a new marriage. And then because when you start dealing with you and breaking your habits, some of those habits are like brick walls, and they're not going to come down easy, and it takes time. So to all of my singles and to my newlyweds, one of the greatest.
It's work. It's a lot of work, babe.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
And
it's a big responsibility.
And you
big
bringing down these habits that's been there for years. It's like a brick wall. You can't just go and kick the wall. Sometimes you got to take the wall down brick by brick by brick. You know, and that's one of the
Which
greatest.
is why, you know, it's a good thing that each of us, before we got together, we already were people who just wanted to grow.
Right.
And
we were big on self-help.
Do better. Right. Just in our personal lives, in our spiritual lives, everything. Our financial lives, our work, business lives. We were always striving and
better.
pushing already. I think your journey started before mine. But anyway, so if we weren't already if I wasn't that person already, if you weren't that person already, to try to come together and all of a sudden face who you are and be responsible for your choices, your attitude, and another person every single day, I don't know how it would be possible.
Correct. You got to be real, and then the other side of it, you have to be real with who you are as a person. Like, I like Oreos. I like Oreos. So when I go and buy Oreos, I always buy 2 packs.
Oh, Lord.
I buy one for the house and one for me. Now, mine, my wife always...
Yeah, they're mine, too.
Exactly. But in my brain, I bought 2 for the house.
But I'm not inconsiderate.
Because,
like, I wouldn't just eat.
Because I know I like to consume.
You probably never shared Oreos before me, have
No,
you,
I
honey?
didn't. Absolutely not.
So that means
Hell
that
no, I
proves
ain't
you
sharing
love
Oreos.
me.
Are you kidding me?
That proves you love me.
Oreos and popcorn.
You didn't share your popcorn with anybody?
No. That was my thing.
That's funny.
So it's funny.
Now you share everything with me.
I share everything with you. But I say that to be funny, but at the same time, I know I have some selfish ways. And when you come together in a marriage, you gotta share.
You gotta compromise. You can't be like, I'm
It's
not willing.
compromising
I'm not willing to
all
budge.
the time.
I'm not budge. Yeah.
Who chose their career over their marriage. The key about marriage is that your spouse has to come first before everything else.
For it to work.
For it to work.
In order for it to work.
For it to work. That's a sacrifice that many people are not willing to make. Listen, even our morning coffee, my desire and our desire is to build something together. My wife did things on her own before. I did things on my own before. But this union, like she said earlier, is a blending process. And so one of the things that I am learning as a man, fellas, is that I can't be such a dictator and just do me, me,
That
me,
you're
me,
going to say
me.
a different word for a second.
What you thought I was going to say, babe?
Without the tater. Okay, go ahead.
I can't be such a dick.
Anyway.
Well, you shouldn't have said it. That it's 2 of us here. And that it's... And
we're both very strong-willed people. We're both
God.
very strong-willed.
God, are we?
You know, and we know we're intelligent. And when we believe something, we believe it.
1,000%.
So sometimes, yeah, we bump heads.
Yeah, we bump heads.
But I think the beautiful thing about our relationship is that, on the inside, I still respect and love who you are. And you still respect and love who I am, no matter what. So even if we get on each other's nerves for a second, kissing you is easy for me. It's still easy.
Give me a kiss then, baby. Give me a kiss.
We're gonna have lipstick on, because I woke up with lipstick on.
Yeah, okay.
It's still easy because I truly love you and respect you, and because you value me.
Okay, so.
And I think that's missing a lot of times in relationships. It sounds so simple. It sounds like, of course, it should be there. And I think it is missing a lot of times in relationships. People are hurt and
Broken.
broken, and frustrated and just unhappy because I think the underlying issue when all of that is going on is that they just don't feel valued by their partner. That does happen a lot.
Yeah.
And not that it's done intentionally. I don't think it is done intentionally, but I think you have to, again, that's something that hopefully you learn at some point, and then you have to be, then you're mindful of it once you learn it, because that's the only thing that makes a difference.
Correct. So, because I want to go slow. So we talk about shedding your bad habits.
Did I have any bad habits, babe?
No, honey, you didn't. No, honey, you didn't have any bad habits at all.
I know I had some bad habits.
No, honey, you didn't have any bad habits at all.
What? Okay, I know what habit I have.
Okay, go ahead, babe. Go ahead.
Like when I'm getting, my kids are probably the only people who know this outside of you. When I'm getting dressed, I don't want to be bothered.
I know, I hate that too.
At all.
Can I tell y'all something?
So I forced myself to be nice to my husband because I
can't take it.
Because I realized that that's just the way I am. It's not personal. I've always been like that. I think it's because from childhood, I always had my own space. I was the only girl. I had brothers. I had one brother, and then I had stepbrothers from 13 up. And so I think, and maybe I was a spoiled brat in some ways.
Would you look at this?
But I think,
would you look at this?
so it's not personal at all. It's
and I take it personal, but I take it personal.
Yeah, I realize that I can come off like I'm just being bitchy to you.
I take it personal.
So I try, honey.
I take it personal.
But I do.
Can I tell you something? Look, I'm in touch with all of my issues, and one of my issues is that I can be very insecure when it comes to her. And there's sometimes in the morning, I'm like she's really quick with something. Like I can have my moment where
I'm mindful of the time, babe. I'm watching the time.
And I don't give a damn about the time.
Okay, well, I gotta punch in.
When I want your attention, I want your attention. And that's just how I feel.
But, babe, you always want my attention.
Okay, well, but...
Always.
Okay, so...
I can't be late for
shout
work.
out to all my brothers who want their wives' attention. I'm
not complaining about it.
Okay, but I'm about to say something,
I just want to give everybody...
Because maybe I'm not the only man that feels this way. What I want is... in her...
I'm laughing because of what you were doing this morning when I was in the mirror getting ready. But go ahead.
Yeah, we can't talk about that.
So it's not like you don't get the attention.
What I want is, because I know that's her private time, I want her to make me feel important in her private time. Because
but it's my private time, baby.
Okay, but everything I do...
I make you feel important a lot.
I didn't say you didn't. But I'm saying in that moment, because I know that dominates you. So to me, I want to know I'm more important than that private time. The same way I feel like I make sure I let you know you're more important than anything else around me. All the time. I'm not saying I'm right.
I'm a woman, honey. Women are just
I understand.
Different.
I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just talking about... See, this is what morning coffee is all about.
I'm just getting dressed, honey. That's it. I'm just getting dressed.
I got issues.
It takes time. It takes women longer.
So to all my newlyweds watching this and you wondering why your husband woke up mad or he rolled over, whatever, this is why. Because he want to know he important to you right now. So go in the room, wrap your arms around him and say, "Boy, I'm sorry."
Okay.
Okay, I'm taking my issues out.
Babe, sometimes you're a big baby with me.
Of course I'm a big baby.
Yes,
with you.
like today when you just decided you just want to sit in the bathroom and just watch me. Why did I go and buy a little cutesy seat for the bathroom? I always wanted a nice little cute chair for the bathroom. So I got one. It's white. It's got a little leather. And I'm like, oh, the bathroom looks so pretty because I love decorating. And he just decides, okay, while you're getting ready, I'm just going to sit here and just look at you.
And that's what I did. I sat right there and I just looked at her.
And what did I do, honey?
She said, "Can you get out, please?"
No, I didn't say, can you
What did
get
you say?
out,
Yeah,
please? I said, you just gonna
sit there?
You just gonna sit there?
Honey, you just gonna sit there?
And-
Bet you just gonna sit there? Like, yep, I'm just gonna sit there.
And did you control yourself?
Nope.
And did I allow you to not control yourself?
Nope.
So I just wanted to say, that's proof. You get your attention.
I'll get my attention. All right, so thank y'all for putting up with our little rant. But a successful marriage takes many things. And so I guess
It's day by day,
it's day by day.
moment by moment.
And then the other thing is you can't compare your relationship to anyone else's relationship because you don't have their issues. Like,
Are you just two different people? Some people like a lot of affection, like us. Some people really
Like,
don't
we're
need
very
much.
affectionate.
When I see couples together, babe, and they're barely touching each other, that seems so strange to me.
like
Because-
sometimes we touch so much there should be a rated X symbol. Like,
And we're
just try to
and we're
be
not
honest.
trying to touch each other. That's just
yeah.
how we naturally are.
Yeah.
All the time. Like, so when we're in front of people, honey, it's strange for me because there's things that you shouldn't just do
Right.
in front of people.
I
So
got
I'm
so many
trying to
funny
keep
stories.
my hands
Right. Right.
to myself.
We one of our earlier dates before we even we weren't even official like dating, but we went out January 1st, 2014. We've been together ever since. We went to the movie theater, and I'm gonna save y'all. It's a longer story, but so during the movie there was a couple sitting next to us, and so my wife, we're both very affectionate, so she sits really close to me. She put both of her legs over me. I'm feeling like the man. She's playing with the back of my neck. And then-
You making it sound like it was so hot. I'm sorry.
well, it was hot. It was nice. So the couple next to us, I saw the young lady hitting him like,
But that's like Kevin Hart's
put your
joke.
arm around me.
Remember Kevin Hart's joke is like, oh, never double date because
never double
you're in
date.
a
Yeah, yeah.
competition if you go out on a
Yeah.
double date.
Don't-
So, because if one of the guys kisses his wife, I can't even say the next part. I can't even say it, babe. You
But that's
say
us
it.
though. Like, you can't double date with us and not be affectionate because that's just who we are. And so, there's so many little things about building a successful relationship. I think for me personally, one of the greatest lessons for me is the shedding of myself. See, because I build up,
You had an ego, babe.
of course. So the shedding of myself, because while
We all do.
I am one individual and my wife is her own woman as an individual, that the moment we put the moment we exchange vows and we
was
exchange
before that.
rings. Yes, it was before
I'm
that.
sorry, go ahead.
Now you become a unit. So everything changes. And now you have to find out what works for the unit.
Yes, and if I'm fighting for what I want and what's comfortable for me, and he's fighting for what he wants and what's comfortable for him, that's what you get.
That's
You
what you
get
get.
her over here,
Yeah.
and he's over there.
Yeah.
You have to fight for
The-
the
yeah.
union.
And so sometimes even in that fighting and even in that going back and forth, it's like, so we've had many blowouts. My common denominator is that's my wife. That's my wife. That's my wife. I love her. So now what?
You've changed habits. I just want to say that
Mm-hmm.
because you do tell on yourself a lot.
What you mean?
You tell on yourself a lot about issues and stuff
Oh,
like that.
okay, yeah.
So I just always want to point out that you have changed habits. Every so often it's like, he doesn't do that anymore. Like that has happened over and over and
'Cause-
over.
Because I'm committed to growth. Like no matter what, I realized I took my vows serious. And so we start talking about marriage and see, our society doesn't promote vows the way they need to be. You know, you're sexually attracted to each other. The chemistry is great. The sex is banging.
But that's exactly what our culture teaches.
Right.
You know,
right,
you
right,
chase
right.
the excitement.
Right, you chase the
You
excitement.
chase the thrills.
But once you commit to each other, so let me say this. While we have feelings, but there are no feelings of infatuation, like no euphoria, like we have a perfect life. every single day we build and we talk and we communicate. What?
Nothing.
Well, you can say have great sex.
I was gonna say sometimes there's euphoria in it.
What? Well, okay, there's a lot.
Not infatuation.
Not infatuation.
Not infatuation.
Yeah, not
but
infatuation.
I think it's a beautiful thing to every single day when
Be happy
when I
with
think about my husband, and some of his ways do get on my nerves. That's normal. So I'm not trying to paint an unreal picture for anyone, but an unrealistic. But when I think about you, I'm like, I'm in love with my husband. When I see you, when he walks up on me, and it's a surprise. I'm not expecting him. I'm at work, and I'm just not expecting to see him. I turn around and see his face. I smile, and I'm grateful. I have that.
Beautiful.
It's not like, oh God,
Good, beautiful.
what is he doing here?
Yeah, because that's the worst. That's the worst.
Never like
that's the worst.
And I'm very grateful for that. When I realize how I feel when I see you, it's almost like I'm outside of my body. I'm like, oh, I'm great. Like, I'm very grateful. So it's not infatuation. It's better.
It's better.
I think it's
Absolutely.
a lot better than infatuation.
But see, again, that's why we're having this conversation, because the dating world is, to me, the dating world is so surrounded around sex and chemistry and all this other kind of stuff. But to be committed to a person for an extended period of time, you need to adopt some other another skill set. You need to adopt some other things that cause the relationship to grow. And like I said, for me personally, it is the shedding of self, because the more I shed myself, the more I can see her. The more I can see her, the more I can grow us.
Which is why you want to choose the right person.
Oh, hell yeah.
You don't want to choose a selfish person, because
Hell
a selfish person, no matter how much you do,
Yep.
is
never
never
enough.
gonna be enough.
Never-
One person
never enough.
giving 100% cannot make a relationship work.
So, let's wrap it up like this. Don't let your past stop you from believing that there is a good mate out there. Because you had an idiot before doesn't mean you're going to get an idiot
And your
again.
past instills some fears.
And your past instills fear.
It instills,
And
yeah.
sometimes it's those fears that keep pushing good people away from you.
Yeah, that reminds me of some stuff
Yeah.
that we didn't get into.
Right. We will.
Like when you got abandonment issues, rejection
exactly.
issues.
This stuff you
So
gotta deal with.
subconsciously you start pushing. When
Pushing-
you start
thank you.
feeling afraid,
start-
subconsciously you're sabotaging your relationship and pushing the person away. Even though the last thing in the world that you want is to push this person away.
Exactly.
I caught myself doing some of those
Exactly.
things.
Okay.
And I know you were doing some of those things
absolutely.
too.
I mean, you wonder why, people wonder why they're still single, but you haven't dealt with all these things.
Yeah, you gotta look in the mirror. The mirror's not just for makeup and hair.
You got
Look at yourself.
Thank you.
You gotta look at
You know
yourself.
what? I'm glad you said that, because that's what this all comes down to. Everything in life, you gotta look at yourself. You can't change the world around you. You can't change another person. You only have the power to change yourself.
And have patience knowing that I ain't perfect. So how am I going to just come down on him
Right.
and beat down on him when at the end of the day, I realize I'm not perfect either. And he puts up with me, and he's patient with me, and he tolerates my ways too. So you have to start, catch yourself. When you catch yourself, turn around.
Yep.
Change your attitude.
Thank you again, people. I am Robert Ballett.
I'm still Jamila Ballard.
Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Facebook, on YouTube.
Just don't follow us down the street if you see us. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
You can find us everywhere. The Ballatts, SBALLATT. Thank you for tuning in another Sunday morning. We love you guys.
We hope you enjoyed your morning
We hope
coffee.
you enjoyed your morning coffee. Listen, go out there, love on your spouse. Go find your mate. Stop the negative thoughts in your mind. Stop the negative thoughts telling you you're not going to find nobody. And then stop being so desperate to find. Let it go and let God.
Hallelujah. Soon as I stop worrying, I let go and I let God have his way. That's when things started happening. I forgot the rest of the words. Babe.
That's a beautiful thing. My turn. Listen, we love you guys. See you next week. Share this video. If you're having a relationship event, hit us up. If you want to,
We'll put on some real clothes, by the way. Don't worry.
Yeah. And I will actually do my hair one day. We love you guys. Peace.
Didn't seem to fall.